During his UN address, President Biden directly called out Russia. He says, we can't let their war in Ukraine go unchallenged. Watch this.
Russia believes that the world will grow weary and allow it to brutalize Ukraine without consequence. But I ask you this, if we abandon the core principles of the United States to appease an aggressor, can any member state in this body feel confident that they are protected?
Former CIA officer Laura Ballman joins us this morning. Are we giving Ukraine the support it needs, or are we kind of forcing them into a stalemate?
Good morning. We're giving them the aid that they've needed so far. They desperately need more advanced air defense missile systems. Imagine if the United States were engaged in trench warfare for about 10 miles either way, spanning from Miami to New York. That's the distance that Ukraine is dealing with. And also, while Kyiv is relatively sheltered, Odessa and the ports along the Danube River are not. This is important to us. Why? Because it's a critical element of the international food supply chain. So if we don't protect those ports and we don't protect the ability for Ukraine to get that grain out, human beings are going to go hungry. I
get the impression that America wants a stalemate. How about you?
The United States does not want a stalemate. I understand why you say that, because Ukraine is facing, in terms of gaining U.S. support, they're facing production challenges in the United States, mixed political will to continue supporting them to the level we have, and also concerns, and probably valid concerns, that we don't want to escalate. So if we send weapon systems that have longer range, could we end up in a bad situation like the market bombing, which happened recently when evidence suggests Ukraine used an outdated Russian system that didn't have perfect aim, and unfortunately many civilians were killed.
All right, I'll move on to a different subject. During his UN speech, the president did not mention Taiwan, not at all. Now, Nikki Haley, Republican candidate for the presidency, she was on the show earlier and she responded to what the president said, missing out Taiwan. Roll tape.
Not only would I mention Taiwan, I would mention the fact that China had a spy balloon going over us. I would mention the fact that they've killed more Americans than the Iraq, Afghanistan, or Vietnam wars combined. I would mention the fact that they steal $600 billion of intellectual property from us. I'd mention the fact that they're putting a spy center off our coast in Cuba. There's a lot I would mention.
That's what she would say if she were president at the UN. Right, Laura, do you think Biden is afraid of mentioning Taiwan?
I think Nikki Haley is absolutely right in terms of the facts she just outlined. The question then becomes, at what moment is the time to really go aggressive outwardly, or be a little more subtle in language? I was just speaking with an ambassador to the United States from China's neighborhood, and he said, look, we're all united in constraining China. They're a real threat. They're also extremely sensitive to overt criticism. Culturally, they want to save face. And so we need to balance how overt we are and how subtle we are. I think China was there implicitly in the president's speech. I, too, may have been a little more direct in some of my statements if I were his speechwriters. But I do think that China was put on notice that, hey, not just the United States, but the entire world is watching your buddy, your dictator friend in Vladimir Putin. So in that way, China was addressed.
Unfortunately, Russia, China, India, Britain, France, Security Council, they weren't there. Laura, I'm sorry, I've got to go. Totally out of time. You know how that is. Thanks very much indeed for being here.
Thanks, I do. Thank you. It's always a pleasure.